I want to continue to talk about goal setting. So something I talked about recently, how to set good goals as a perfectionist and the ways that we tend to be terrible about doing that. What I want to share today is why I actually think the how we go about our goals might be more important than the goals themselves. And it's not that I don't think goals are important. I think actually they are incredibly important for perfectionists because they allow us to know that we are making progress. And as I said last time, I think we are really terrible at doing that. We tend to kind of shy away from being specific about what we want because we're so scared of not getting it, of failing, that we'd rather kind of couch it in these nebulous terms and we never know that we've succeeded. And one of the things I suggested as a kind of an antidote to that is getting really clear about why a goal is important to you, why are you pursuing it. Through this very simple practice of simply asking yourself why. Yeah, I want to write a book. Why? Because. Yeah, and you keep going until you get to kind of like the essence of what's motivating you. And then the thing I think that really gets really fun is this idea of how. Yeah, how I go about pursuing this goal. Because I think that's where the aliveness, the fun, the fulfilment can be. That if all we ever do is kind of focus on the outcome, like so often those outcomes, even with like the best crafted goals, those outcomes are still outside of our control. Yeah, life happens. But the thing that I can kind of influence in my life, the thing I do have more agency around, is how I go about doing those things. And it's something I learned from Mark Walsh, actually, when I was doing the Embodied Facilitator course, which it was around kind of like practice. Like we had to commit to an embodied practice for a period of time during the year. And he would always remind us that like how we showed up to practice was as important as what we were doing in our practice. I had no point showing up for a yin yoga class with this kind of like Ashtanga yogi, got to do it, got to achieve, how do I tough this out kind of approach, because all I'm doing is practicing that, right? Even if I'm in a yin yoga class. And I think it's the same with like goals more broadly. How I'm showing up for them is actually probably more important to my life and how I feel about my life and my business than what I achieve, because the achievements are fleeting. Yeah. But how I show up with myself day to day, like that's the thing that I experience. And so what I love to do with people is like to take this why, and you've like got clear on why you're pursuing a goal. It tends to be a feeling. Yeah, I want to feel a certain way, and the story that I'm telling myself is that if I achieve this thing, if I get 10,000 readers, or if I have a book published, then I will get the feeling. And that may or may not be true. It's a hypothesis, it's an assumption. But what I can do is, having identified the feelings that I want, is like, how do I bring that into how I'm doing the thing? Yeah. How do I get to feel the way that I want to more often in my life? And it's not to say that I think that, if like the thing that you want is like, like one of my goals at the moment is to like have a business that feels financially sustainable. I would really love to like not be worried about my income. Yeah. So it's not really about a number. It's about the sense of kind of like security and ease I feel in my day-to-day existence. And I don't necessarily think that I can feel that way every day. But I do think that if I am more clear that that's how I would like to be feeling, I can orient to that day to day. Like, what would it be like to show up to this from this place of feeling secure and grounded and easeful. Like, if that goal were true, how would I be showing up? Yeah, and can I show up? Can I bring that sense of embodiment to what I'm doing, even if I haven't achieved the goal yet? So yeah, I want to just suggest that how I show up to the things, it might actually be more important, because I think that's what I'm really chasing. I don't necessarily need to have, 10,000 readers, or whatever the numbers, whatever the arbitrary goals are. But I do want to feel a certain way, and I think the more that I can engage with that, I think the better. Yeah. And I really appreciate Christina sharing here that to skip all the means to the actual end. We're so busy putting way too many intermediate steps before we could possibly feel. Yeah. And it reminds me of this thing with perfectionism that I've shared a couple of times recently. This came from a Mosaic Voices podcast. This idea that something that is perfect is dead. It's finished. It's complete. And it's the same with our goals. Yeah, there can be a sense of wanting to complete, wanting to get to the end, but it's not the point. Yeah, and the Alan Watts kind of idea that life is not a journey, there is no destination, it's not all about getting to the end, because when we get to the end, it's kind of finished. The point is like a piece of music. We're meant to dance and enjoy the experience of it as we go. So, and I think for me, orienting to how I'm showing up for my goals has me be in the process of it more. And that opens up so much possibility of, because it's not making a mistake anymore. It's not failing. It's I'm in the process of learning how to do this thing. And hopefully, I'm making progress towards the thing that I want, but I'm in the process of it. I'm in the verb of it. I'm doing it. And I feel so much kind of space and liberation in that, because it gives me permission to not get it right. It gives me permission to make a mistake. Because it's a process. It's alive. It's evolving. It's coming to be as I'm doing it. And that feels much more exciting to me than just ticking a whole bunch of goals off the to-do list. So curious how this lands for you, what you think. I'd really love to hear what you think, and thanks so much for being here live and for your contribution, Christina. Definitely check Christina out at Embodied Christina. She's got an amazing 4-week course all about reconnection and embodiment that's starting very soon. Really recommend her work as well. So thanks so much for being here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments, and I will see you next time.